Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I'm incredibly excited to guide you through today's topic because, honestly, it touches on something absolutely every single one of us deals with, mastering our own unpredictable and sometimes completely overwhelming feelings. If you have ever found yourself getting irrationally furious at a slow Wi-Fi connection, or lying awake at 2 a.m. just catastrophizing about an email you sent, you know exactly what I mean. When those moments hit, it feels like your emotions are just running the show, dragging you along for the ride. So today we're taking a deep dive into some fascinating source material that outlines specific cognitive control techniques designed to put you firmly back in the driver's seat.
Now, think about this for a second. What if your emotions were a wild animal? Think about the last time you felt a sudden, explosive burst of anger, a massive wave of anxiety, or even a rush of uncontrollable excitement. That experience rarely feels calm, calculated, or rational, does it? No way. It feels completely instinctual. It feels untamed, and this is the exact core concept that our source material anchors itself to. It asks us to stop looking at our feelings as these abstract, floating concepts, and instead to view them as a living, breathing, and highly unpredictable force of nature just living inside our own heads.
Section 1. Meet the crazy monkey. Okay, let's dive into this. To truly grasp this concept, we need a vivid way to visualize that chaotic energy. You know, the kind that spikes your heart rate when you get a stressful text or makes you snap at a friend when you're just exhausted. Our source material perfectly encapsulates this by stating, quote, "Human emotion is like a crazy monkey." Just picture that. A monkey swinging frantically from branch to branch, chattering loudly, completely unbothered by logic or reason, just reacting wildly to every single stimulus in its environment. That is what unmanaged human emotion looks like. Neurologically speaking, when we get stressed, our amygdala, which is the ancient, instinct-driven part of our brain, essentially hijacks our prefrontal cortex, our logical control center. In those moments, the crazy monkey has literally taken the wheel. It's chaotic, it's loud, and without the right tools, it is incredibly hard to ignore.
Moving on to Section 2, the enhancement methodology.
But hey, we aren't just here to talk about the chaos, right? We are here for the solution. If the problem is wild, unmanaged emotion, the answer has to be a systematic, deliberate approach. To actually tame this monkey, our source outlines a framework formerly called the Emotional Management Enhancement Methodology. And notice the specific choice of words here. We aren't just talking about merely coping with or surviving our daily stress. We are talking about management and enhancement. It's a profound shift in perspective. This methodology provides an exact, structured framework designed specifically to help us regain cognitive control over our feelings, really transforming us from passive victims of our emotions into active managers of our mental state.
So the crucial point is that the journey to gaining that control follows a very clear three-step logic. Step 1. Learn the methodology. You have to actually understand the psychological framework and the tools at your disposal. But as we all know, knowledge alone isn't enough, which brings us to Step 2. Apply the techniques. This is the hardest bridge to cross. It requires active, disciplined application in the exact moment you feel that monkey starting to go crazy. You literally have to put in the reps. And Step 3, tame the monkey. This is the ultimate outcome. You learn, you actively apply the tools under pressure, and as a result, you successfully tame the chaos.
Section 3. Tool 1. Thought stopping.
So what exact tools are we applying in Step 2? Well, our source material identifies thought stopping as the first primary method. But how does this actually work in practice? When that emotional monkey starts swinging wildly, creating a nasty spiral of negative, anxious, or chaotic thoughts, thought stopping is the active intervention used to short-circuit that neural feedback loop. It involves deliberately recognizing a spiraling thought the split second it begins and abruptly interrupting it. For some people, this means visualizing a massive, bright red stop sign in their mind's eye. For others, it means literally saying the word stop out loud, or maybe snapping a rubber band on their wrist. By aggressively interrupting the pattern, you deny the emotion the momentum it needs to spiral out of control. It is a super active, targeted method to break the cycle of unmanaged feelings right in its tracks.
Section 4. Tool 2. Eye movement.
Okay, let's see how this builds on what we just learned. Stopping a runaway thought is crucial for sure, but processing the underlying intense emotion is the next vital step. The module teaches participants how to apply eye movement desensitization. And look, this isn't magic, it is just fascinating neurology. When you experience severe stress, the memory and the intense emotion can essentially get stuck in your nervous system. By moving your eyes rhythmically left and right, perhaps by following a moving finger or an object, while gently focusing on that distressing emotion, you create bilateral stimulation in the brain. This rhythmic cross-hemisphere activity actually helps your mind process and digest the chaotic emotion, rather than just suppressing it or letting it fester.
Alongside thought stopping, this bilateral eye movement provides a really profound way to deeply manage your body's physiological response to stress.
Which brings us to Section 5, Taming Your Emotions.
And this brilliantly illustrates the transformation this methodology promises. We've explored the clinical techniques of thought stopping and eye movement desensitization, and now it's time to look at the big picture. When we look at unmanaged human emotion, we see that chaotic, noisy monkey. It represents the noise, the impulsivity, and the terrifying feeling of being completely out of control. But through the methodology, by actively interrupting the negative neural loops and physically processing the residual stress through bilateral stimulation, that exact same energy transforms. It becomes calm, centered, and tamed. The emotion itself isn't destroyed or numbed out. You still feel things deeply, but the chaotic energy is managed and directed. You remain the one firmly in charge of your actions.
The source material often refers to achieving this state as discovering a secret, but as we've uncovered today, the secret to taming the crazy monkey isn't some mystical shortcut, it is highly practical discipline. The ultimate secret shared in the module is simply the consistent learning and the active, rigorous application of these two specific psychological methods. It is the incredibly empowering realization that cognitive control over our feelings isn't a genetic lottery, it is a tangible skill. It's a muscle that can be structured, practiced, strengthened, and ultimately mastered by anyone willing to put in the effort.
I want to leave you with one final, incredibly important question to ponder. Now that you know this secret methodology, which of your crazy monkeys will you tame first? Because let's face it, we all have different emotional triggers running wild in our daily lives. Whether it is lingering workplace stress, personal anxieties keeping you up at night, or just sudden bursts of frustration sitting in traffic, you now know the structural framework designed to handle them. The methodology is out there, the tools exist. The power to interrupt the chaos and process the emotion is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start observing and taming your own emotional monkeys today.